Welcome to your front row seat of Encore. The Encore series is a fan-favorite follow-up to conversations started on the Life Possible podcast. Encore highlights interview details and discussion topics that left us curious and wanting more. Without further ado, please welcome back to the stage your Encore hosts, Wendy White-Stevens of the Real Women of Ideal Protein, Dr. John Barnes, and their featured guest.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am your Encore host, Wendy White-Stevens. I am the front girl for the Real Women of Ideal Protein and a proud clinic owner at the Institute of Metabolic Transformation, where I also coach to the Ideal Protein Protocol. In 2016, I lost 125 pounds with the Ideal Protein Protocol, and quite simply put, I felt like if I could do that, anybody could, and I didn't want it to be a secret. The Encore podcast exists because Dr. John Barnes of Reset Wellness in Centerville, Virginia, brings such good content on his Life Possible podcast that I always have questions, and there's always more to the story. So without further ado, my co-host, Dr. John Barnes.
Hey, how are you, Wendy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I am fresh off of summer vacation, relaxed, rejuvenated, and ready to go.
All the R's. Relaxed, rejuvenated, and ready.
I've been working on that.
That's good. I like it. Next time, I want to be relaxed, rejuvenated, and ready. I'm just ready.
Then let's go. What do we got going on today?
We have got, dare I say, Ideal Protein Low Carb Royalty. I don't know. She's blushing right now. I guarantee it. Okay.
I love it.
We have Janeva Eickhoff. Okay.
What?
She has been a guest. I know. She's been a guest on the Life Possible podcast, episode 20, 36, part 1 and 2, and episode 52. And I thought, do I need to list all those? And then I thought, yes, I do. Because she's added that much value to the community. Like nothing short of 4 episodes plus. Okay.
Right. She is the reluctant Ideal Protein celebrity.
I know, and we love her. I can't believe we've not chatted on Encore before, but I feel like the timing is perfect.
Amen.
She has embodied a healthy lifestyle with so many great wellness behaviors, and she's such a giving spirit. You can see that in her 60,000 plus followers on her phase 1 Facebook group, where she gives so freely, not just tips and tricks, but recipes. And in a large part, she is how I know how to cook today.
Wow, that's awesome.
I know, that's no stretch of the imagination. Let's bring her in, Janeva Eickhoff.
Where is she, Janeva? There she is.
Here. Hi. From my kitchen. Here I am.
Where else than straight from Geneva's kitchen?
Where else would I be? Right. Hello, everyone.
How are you? How's your summer been?
Doing good. It's great. I'm loving the weather here in Minnesota, and got the lake out front, so we've been getting some boating in, and it's our favorite pastime. So there's been a lot of that, and just enjoying the weather for the most part. We're pretty locked up for about six to 8 months here in Minnesota otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Every day that the sun's out and it's warm, we love it.
The lake is everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
It's going to start snowing, late August?
Ooh. Oh, please. I hope
not.
Although this last winter, it was pretty mild. I was standing out in my driveway in January talking to my remodelers without a jacket on. That's unheard of.
Wow.
So, but no, we can get snow. It can start at the end of October, but it's more normal for starting in November, and then it ends at late April, early May.
Yeah,
so
late April, early May. It's crazy.
Yeah, it just depends on the year, but yeah. So
we'll see how it goes this fall. I'm sure you'll tee up some more great recipes. No pressure.
That's why she spends so much time in the kitchen.
Well, the thing is, though, is that the seasons kind of have always promoted recipe development, because it's very seasonal in this area.
Yeah.
What we like to eat, and so it keeps it sort of exciting too from that standpoint. So yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
love that. So today, one of the things I'm always going to be curious about, you had your initial ideal protein experience and journey. We know that story. I love that story. 11 years ago, right? Can you believe that?
No, it just has zipped by, but it's one of the best things I ever did. Best choices I ever made was joining that Ideal Protein Clinic 11 years ago.
I think we'd all agree. We would all agree. And as time goes on and I seek to continue to evolve in my long-term healthy lifestyle, my radish long-term healthy lifestyle, like what's going to work for me? How can I do this?
Yeah.
I get so curious when we have an opportunity to talk to someone 11 years in. I can only imagine. I'm at year 7, okay, and I've already learned so much that I was wholly and fully unaware of, that I'm like, what are your tips? Like, what has helped you most? What have your challenges been, and how do you navigate those? I love the secrets.
Well, the only secret I can tell you is just try every day. It's because we're always going to, okay, there's so much going into my mind right now. So we were talking about Minnesota. I think one of the things in Minnesota that we're comfort food here. It's a comfort food. Yeah. It's Midwest. It's meat and potatoes. When it's wintertime, where do we get our fruits and vegetables? Not from the ground. We have to have it brought in. So I think, every region has its own, cuisine based on what they have available to them, and that's how it's been. But nowadays, of course, you can ship things in from all over, and it's not really an issue, but there's that staple base of comfort food here. And so when you're raised on something like that, it's like ingrained. Food tells a story, and it's part of your life. And I think one of the hardest things is to shift out of that. So I thought when I started Ideal Protein, I thought, how am I going to shift into, because I'm thinking, before I got into Ideal Protein, I thought, how am I going to shift into bird food? Because I'm thinking that's all I'm going to eat. That's,
right?
I mean, how many grilled chicken breasts and steamed broccoli dishes can you have before you just go, I can't do this anymore?
I know that's right.
Right.
So after I got into Ideal Protein and I learned the protocol, and as simple as it might be with the amount of fruits, with vegetables and meat that we can have, I thought, okay, I still have to do something with all that in the packets to create the same journey that I've been on in the past, only with better quality and more healthy ingredients. And if I can do that, then I can stick to it. Because I can wake up every day and say, you know what, I'm going to have this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm excited about what I'm going to eat. It's not, I have to eat this. Do I have to eat that? That drives on anybody. And I think human nature, after a while, it's just, if you keep putting yourself through that, it's just no way to succeed. So my whole thing is find things that you like, find recipes that you like, find ingredients that you like, and then really travel with that throughout your lifestyle change, because that's truly what it is. And I want to mention that, in the past, I'm getting, I'm past the, past my 50s and such. And so it was getting harder for me to keep the weight up. So I've experienced it going through that whole change that women go through. I've experienced it from the, right before it all happened to going through it until now. And actually I probably weigh the lowest now that I ever have, because each year that I go through, I learn more and I adopt the changes because I want to, and I feel better. This isn't just about looking good. It's about feeling good. And the older you get, the more you realize how important it is that your health is. And like I said, when I was younger, it was more for, I can eat what I want. And then, I want to look good, so I better diet. Well, no, that kind of mentality really didn't work for me. And what has is realizing that somebody in Ideal Protein once said this to me, what you put in your mouth and what you eat is either causing disease or preventing disease. And when you think like that, you think twice about putting something in there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yes.
okay,
Poisoning
okay.
myself, like,
But I always feel like there's balance. Okay, so that doesn't mean restrict yourself from fun foods that you think that
right.
are, you know, that your kryptonite food or whatever you want to call it. You can still have those things. If you just change the ingredients, you can still get that same experience, whether it's psychological or it's physical or it's spiritual or whatever your connection is. I just feel like it's much easier to change ingredients than it is like the soul of, you know, like how you were raised and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
and it works. And so I'd say that to me is the most important thing. The one other thing I want to add in here is that when I entered into Ideal Protein, I thought, well, I'm not going to have any soda. I'm not going to have any this or that. Or now almost anything outside of water, I can't even stand it. And I never thought, if I can do it, you can do it, because I wanted, you know, flavorful, all these things. And you can still have some of those things, of course. It's just that water is my staple. I have it going all the time. It's just the one, I think it's the one nutrient of life, of course, that we just have to have constant. And so I always keep these little bottles. These are easy for me to get down, and they don't get warm before.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I like it cold, so they, you know, I just keep a little cold bottle and get them down quickly. And so, and just really when again, going back to when I first started and when I started the recipe journey and trying to create all these things, it was really for that. It was trying to make it sustainable for something you could actually lose weight and enjoy the food, and then something you could take into the rest of your life. So that's kind of the whole.
I love that. Okay. Now you didn't necessarily.
But she didn't mention that her best resource for this healthy lifestyle is Geneva's Kitchen, the lifestyle cookbook, right?
Quite literally.
And again, I wonder too, how many people in Ideal Protein Nation actually know still that you do have a second cookbook, a non-phase 1 cookbook for life, where you help people make and learn those substitutions for that healthy lifestyle, right?
Yeah, and that cookbook, when I wrote it based on all the family favorites. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to take all these family favorites, I don't want to go back to the old family favorites, because it was just, you know, it's a lot of carbs and fat and that combination.
Yeah.
So I took all those favorites and I just restructured them using better, healthier ingredients. And, you know, there's a lot of ways you can extract flavors besides adding in all the carbs and fats. I mean, the list goes on, but it's, you know, method of cooking, and it's, you know, seasonings and it's not a deprivation cookbook at all. And I don't feel deprived, because as soon as I feel deprived, that's what I feel, like a caged animal, and I can't do that. So I'd say, you know, in moderation, keep the carbs low, eat foods that you love, and you'll find it, you know. And really the cookbook was just a guide to help people, because for me it sort of comes naturally. It's just, but I wanted to share that with other people to help them, because I know it can be a struggle if they don't have the, you know, the passion for cooking or the background,
the natural inclination.
Right.
No, I love that. I have that cookbook as well. I have all 4. And okay, so we're not going to go there today, but you mentioned the impact of menopause on your long-term healthy lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah.
We know that menopause is a full body experience, and post-menopause will be there forever. So maybe that'll be our part 2. Okay.
Yeah. I think that would be good.
I think what you ladies need to know is that, you know, for us men, it's also an out-of-body experience. So it's not just you. It's
lucky you.
It has ramifications on other people.
Right.
It does. I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
But I do love what you said. You know, it's like maybe Maybe you don't make the exact recipe that you've got in the maintenance cookbook, but maybe it's the people like myself that just need, like, give me some concepts, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
What can I do? And then do I want to add a little Wendy flair to it
For sure.
and bring it in? Because it is ultimately, it is a low carb lifestyle. If we really want to sustain the metabolic health we've been able to restore with the phase 1 protocol on ideal protein. And that, I think that is absolutely the truth. So I'm glad that you are not a chicken and broccoli girl. Okay. Because I didn't want to be either. Like that's good to an extent, but it's not sustainable. Like you said, it's not a path to sustainability, right?
Right. No. Not for me. Maybe there are people that could do it, but I think there's very few that could sustain it.
Very few. Okay. Yeah. Would you say that, we were going to discuss one of the biggest challenges you found to be destabilizing in your long-term wellness lifestyle? Is it highly palatable foods from the Northwest, or has there been something else within your lifestyle that's kind of drawn your attention to an unrecognized challenge to your wellness that you now have tools in place to walk you through those times that help you sustain?
Variety. That would be my, we were just talking about how we're kind of meat and potatoes in the Midwest, but I also understand I like cuisines from all over the world, actually, not just the US and Canada, but, and so for me, I think variety has always just been key. And that's why you'll even see in the phase 1 cookbook and the other one, the homestyle cookbook, that, I have Jamaican and Indian and Southern and I mean, Chinese and Asian inspired and all these other ones. So I don't just sit in my little world here of Midwest meat and potatoes. I mean, I like to branch out and I like to travel. And when I travel, I like to try. And so for me, it's kind of one of the most challenging areas for me was actually Southern cooking, because they do use a lot of butter and they do lose a lot of fat and that kind of thing. And I have a lot of friends down there in Louisiana, and my goodness, it's some of the best food in the world is from down, I think, in that area. But I've taken, but to take what's fun for me is to take something, a cuisine like that, and then transform it into something that's just as enjoyable. I mean, it might even be, because I think some people, when they're tasting gumbo, it might be something their grandmother made, and they're thinking, oh, and there's such a connection. There's kind of a soul connection to that kind of thing. But what they're tasting too is there is a spice that's in there, or that's an outstanding spice, and you can still use sausages and things like that. So you don't have to stray too far to find good tasting food. But circling back, I just feel like variety has helped me. When I get in a rut, and it's mostly because I'm super busy and I think, okay, I'm going to make a bunch of this and then I'll have it this week. Or I don't really like to live my life like that. But if that works for people, do it. I mean, find what works for you, and you'll find it, because you'll either like it or you won't, and it's individual. And when you were saying earlier about maybe I should Wendy-ize something, I say that if you find a recipe, for example, my mom always teases the hottest thing we have in our cupboards in Minnesota is cinnamon, because we're not big on hot sauces and cayenne peppers here. It's actually quite bland, and so when you're raising, you don't really. So when I put recipes out there, I keep that in mind. I don't add a lot of one type of flavor to it, because I know that people from another region, they're going to want to add their hot sauce. And if I make it too hot, then someone, this region is not going to like it. So I would totally recommend, if you take the base recipe, make it the first time, and then you go, I'd rather have it, with this or that, then do that. Just make it your journey. There's no that to me is the perfect journey. Find out what you like and stick with it, because there's a lot of choices out there.
There's so much, and one thing, when I was learning to cook with your cookbook initially, I didn't have a lot of spices. And so there were stuff I was just kind of like leaving out of the dish. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make her recipes as she has written them. And then if I don't want to use a spice or I fall in love with it, then I'll just go with that. And so the first spice that I went and bought to make a recipe as you had written it was fennel seed. I had no idea what fennel seed was.
Right.
And then I was like, I bought it and I opened it and I was like, this is what's in sausage that I love.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't know enough to go start eliminating stuff. So from that point on, from me buying my first jar of fennel seed forward, I've always committed, like, do it as it's written and then see what you think. Okay. And so that was, I mean, my spice rack now it's like, it's exploded literally. And it's all based on those recipes in your book. So I absolutely agree. Like, try it, see what you want to do, because you might not even know what you're eliminating, right? It could be one of those really familiar spices that bring you to the dish that you're looking for, that creates that sustainability with a phase 1 experience, especially.
Right. Yeah. And then if you find something that you have an aversion to, like, and you see it in the recipe, leave it out. It might even be something simple, like with the crack slaw recipe. There's ginger in there. Some people don't like ginger. Just leave it out. You're still, or put something in its place. I mean, just try and put it in a little. You don't put it in the whole dish. That's what I'd recommend. I mean, just put it on. If you're going to try a new seasoning, just put it on a spoonful or something and see if it's something that you like. Because otherwise, it's pretty hard to extract spices out of a dish, a whole pot. Once you have it in there, there's nothing you can do. But experiment. And seasonings are a good way to do that.
You know what I find interesting is, and what's great about the phase 1 protocol for weight loss, a lot of people, I usually tell people, well, if we told you had to eat chicken and broccoli 3 times a day, how long could you do that? Right. And they're usually like, ugh. Yeah. But even at that, right, having the ideal protein foods are such great tools to take people and change their lifestyle and teach them a new way to prepare their foods. A lot of people don't really cook. Right. So if you tell people you've got to come up with recipes, that's half the battle when people are trying to figure out good nutrition. And half the battle when they're trying to lose weight is, what do I cook? What do I cook? What do I cook? So in phase 1, all you have to do is really focus on one meal for the most part. Right. And then that makes it a situation. And Christina from corporate, I love the way that she put it. She's like, Jack the plumber. Like, Jack the plumber doesn't want to be cooking his breakfast, cooking his lunch, and cooking his dinner now, because he doesn't do that right now, right? Yeah. So this program is going to be super hard for him, and he's not going to want to do it. But if you tell him, hey, look, you're only responsible for one meal a day at dinner that you're going to have to truly cook, because you could double cook vegetables and use them the next day, right?
Batch cook, yes, absolutely.
Or raw vegetables. But still, I think it makes it really creates a great situation for people to learn how to cook in the first place, but then also to learn how to cook healthy dinners that they love and their family loves, that they'll keep doing later when they're not trying to lose weight.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think too, if you can find the recipes and start sharing them with your family, the ones make it for yourself, double the recipe, or batch cook, triple, quadruple, whatever, depending on
how many families eat crack slaw on a normal basis these days?
Probably a lot of them.
Seriously, so many people. Right.
I just had a gal.
My kids asked for crack slaw.
Yeah, on the Facebook page, when someone writes on the Facebook page and they say, fed this to my kids or my grandkids, and they're like between the ages of 2 and 10, and that's what they want. They wanted this over the hamburger helper out of a box. Like, literally, I can feel like my heart just melts. Because if we think that that's what they won't eat these things, give it a try. There's a lot of testimony.
You'll be shocked.
Yes, that they love that kind of food, and they probably didn't even know it. And really, in everyday life, there's actually a lot of very healthy foods that are favorite foods that we are eating. We don't realize how healthy they are. And that's what I think this whole diet thing it's almost like a 4-letter word sometimes because they think it's just so, oh no, I'm just going to be deprived,
like
I can't do anything and I can't go out to eat and I can't do this.
Right.
No. And then can't becomes a 4-letter word. I mean, it's just, there's freedom. There is a lot of freedom in this journey. And,
well, that's why I like to, we just exchanged that word for the word nutrition. And whenever anybody comes, how's your nutrition this week? Not how was your diet this week, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what are we doing? We're changing our nutrition so that it does this for us.
Yeah.
Right. And I find, at some stage, it's kind of like, could you even call what you're eating nutrition? And it's helpful. Right. It's helpful to make that connection, right? And help people to change.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot that goes on between these two things right here, so it's just a matter of practice, keep changing and finding and learning. We're going to learn our whole lives, so yeah.
We do. I love that. It's like when you said feel good foods, I'm like, like feel good foods, but also like feel good foods, right?
Yes.
Like double meaning.
Yeah.
Right? Like really feel good foods and then also feel good foods, right?
Love it.
I think that's where everybody would love to thrive. Something too that was kind of unexpected in the feel good space. We are doing show and tell today, right?
All right, let's go.
I know. When I was carrying we have show and tell, and each one of us have brought our favorite kitchen gadget to show and tell, and I got so excited. I did not expect to get so excited, okay? But I was carrying my kitchen tool in here, and I thought I was like instantly transported like back to second grade, like carrying in my show and tell item, and like all you want to share with your little friends, right? Yeah. So I can't wait for us to have our show and tell on Encore and share with our friends what we love in our kitchen. And Geneva's first.
Oh, okay. When you asked for me to put something together, my favorite thing, it was really challenging to whittle it down because I have a lot of things. But I thought, okay, what really is at the top of that list? And I thought, okay, one of my favorite things. Okay, I love anything that helps me chop vegetables faster. It's kind of my least favorite thing to do in the kitchen. Like if I just chopping up my vegetables for me, that would be a dream. I'll do all the rest. Chop vegetables and do dishes, and I'll do everything else. So one of the things that I like a lot, and I've gotten quite a few people to in my family to use this. It is this is what it looks like. Is it too bright? Can you see? Anyway, okay. It's got this little lid on it.
Okay.
It's got some divots. I don't know if you can see them.
That.
Can you see them? Okay. Anyways, so you put little cherry tomatoes on the top of here. You put the lid back on it. And then, of course, it'll be sitting up. You take a knife, and it should be a long, sharp knife.
Okay.
And you cut through between the lid, and it cuts perfectly right through the tomatoes. Now, I kind of got my mom on avocado toast recently. And she didn't have one of these little devices. I said, I'll get you one. Or better yet, you can take 2 Tupperware lids and do the same thing, or plastic container lids.
Yeah.
So you don't even need one of these little devices. You can just take 2 lids, and then and then it would be the inside part of the lids would be on the outsides of it. You know what I mean? So that it has a lip where you can set the tomatoes in. Set the other lid on top and do the same thing. Just hold it down, keep your fingers out of the way. And she does that. She loves it because she puts those little tomatoes on top of her avocado toast. And she's 93, so she can manage very easily. Anybody can do it. The key is the sharp knife. That's otherwise. So
I can appreciate
that's got to be one of my favorite ones because it just.
I love it, and I have heard of that. I have heard of that product before. I just forgot about it. So I'm going to try the lid situation and see how that goes for me. Yeah. Because cherry tomatoes is something that I always have sitting out. So if I'm like having to cut through the kitchen all these times a day because I've got like the nibbles, then I just like grab a cherry tomato, move on with life.
Yeah, there you go.
But I do find it challenging if I'm going larger scale with cherry tomatoes in a dish. Like, I don't want to sit there and cut those things up. Like, I still don't want to be in the kitchen.
I agree.
No offense.
No,
I want to be in the kitchen. I want to be out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I like the cooking part. The prepping, I don't love. I mean, it's obviously part of it.
Right.
But if I had my druthers, it would be just the cooking part. But I mean, it's satisfying. It's just I don't want it to take forever either. So I don't want to stick in, and that's why I'm into easy recipes. I'm into, let's not spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen. We'd rather be sitting in the patio with a iced tea looking at the lake or something.
Right. Or on the lake or whatever else.
Or on the lake.
Yeah.
On the lake. I love that. Okay, I'll grab my favorite thing. Okay. And it kind of taps the same vein.
Oh.
I was going to mention that.
I know.
Because when I'm like, oh my God, for onions.
Yeah,
I've got one of those, and that is the absolute best thing in the world.
I use it for everything. Everything I could possibly just show. You can see, like, I've got the larger grade in there. Let me see.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's got interchangeable little grates.
Yeah.
That you want to rinse as soon as you use it. Don't let anything dry to this, or you're going to have to do more work that you don't want to do.
Yeah, and it's dangerous because you're trying to get it off, and sharp is all right.
I know. It's incredibly sharp.
They
have different
stay
sizes.
away from that grate. Yeah.
And so all I have to do is do like big chopping and then go. And it's almost therapeutic too, because you get to like put your vegetable or whatever right here and go.
Right.
And then
I love that. That's another reason I love it.
Basket of chopped veggies if you want to saute, if you want the onions. Like I said, like I don't like stinky onion fingers. Okay.
No.
That's how I do onions in my chili.
This little chopper
with that contraption.
Yeah, I cut them. And I get them there. But then, of course, because you're me, I don't like onions anyway. So I put them and I puree them. I puree the peppers, the onions, and garlic together in a puree. So you got nothing crunching. You got nothing crunching in there.
Oh, nothing. So it's the texture,
it's a texture thing.
On those grates are also strong enough. I will do potatoes for my husband and my son. Like I'll do little like potato pieces, and then it makes it easier if they cook faster in the air fryer or in the oven. And so it's very durable. It's a lot more durable than I would have expected. And so that little chopper was a recommendation from one of my clients who was struggling with veggies and prep and being in the kitchen and all that. And she just said it changed her life. And so I thought, I'm up for something changing my life, girl.
So who makes that one that you have? Who do you know who makes that? The one that you have?
Let me see. It's off of the wide world of Amazon. It's not marked. It's not marked, but there are plenty of them on Amazon. This has a little green, the green inserts. You'll see different colors. I've given it plenty of good wax, and so it takes a lick it and keeps on ticking. So it's durable. And it's fun like
I love it. Yeah, that's a good one. See?
Yes.
We're thinking along the same lines.
We don't need talking stuff. What about John? What's your show and tell?
I'm glad you asked. Hang on, let me see if I can find it somewhere. I'm looking. Oh wait. Oh, I got a box where I keep my favorite utensils. I don't know if you ever seen this box before.
Oh yeah, we're familiar.
Yeah.
And I know that Janeva is going to say, well, obviously, his favorite are the little Mexican hats in there, right? Because when we opened them up, I'm like, why are there Barbie Mexican hats? I don't understand what the sombreros, right? And then of course, Lynn taught me that was to make donuts, but no.
Oh,
right. Now this was the brilliance of the whole thing. Janeva even said, oh my gosh, John, you're going to love this ratcheting thing. It's so awesome. And so when we got it, I'm like, how's it work? And then luckily one of my coaches showed me that you ratchet it like this.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go. And it's it's whisking. It's
yes,
right.
I almost chose that one too as my favorite because I love that one. And the nice thing about that too is you can just it's never messy. You can have the tiniest little cup with a couple eggs in it, and you ratchet it. It doesn't go flying all over the place. How are you going to do a regular whisk? It's
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and only available in the Ideal Protein Baking. Check with your clinic if they still have them around.
Which has an exclusive cookbook from Janeva in it. That cookbook's not available anywhere else. I have not yet seen those recipes published anywhere else.
You asked.
I will tell you.
There it is.
I know that one. I made the blueberry donut recipe.
Yeah.
And I'm so surprised I didn't eat all of them. It was because I was just sound mind, and I knew what my serving was, right? Yeah. And so I had my 2 donuts, and I did leave the kitchen, but as soon as I woke up the next day, it was like time for 2 donuts, right?
So many sombreros.
Yeah, they came out moist. They were not dry. Like I had kind of sworn off baking with packets because I just was not achieving. Like I love baked goods, y'all. Okay, and I wasn't achieving any radar on the bliss point that made me want to continue baking with packets until the recipes in that little cookbook out of the baking kit, which is still available at your clinics. It's still. What's that?
While supplies last.
While supplies last, right?
And if you can't find them, contact the show.
There you go.
We can give one away. How do we want to do that? I've got one I can give away.
Oh, how do we want to do that? You're gonna have to come up with a competition.
Okay, all right.
Trivia question.
That was unscripted, of course. So just comment. Anybody comments on? Yep. Go ahead.
Whoever puts. We can't put it in the comments. Messages you at Real Women of Ideal Protein, Geneva's Spirit Vegetable, which we are going to reveal later. Right? If they message you through Facebook, Real Women of Ideal Protein, Geneva's Spirit Vegetable, you'll go in a hat, and Wendy will draw the name.
You're going to get an Ideal Protein baking kit with Dr. John Barnes' favorite. As well as the exclusive cookbook, the baking cookbook with 6 sombreros, I believe.
I think there are 6 sombreros. You can get Barbie, Ken, and all their friends.
6 sombreros. So, yes, drop me a message at the Real Women of Ideal Protein on Facebook or Instagram with Geneva's Spirit Vegetable, and you'll be in a drawing for a free baking kit, which is I can't remember what the retail value is.
65, I think.
Value.
Yeah,
and it's a limited edition, so I love that. I'm so happy that we all brought in a show and tell. That was fun. Thank you for sharing. Now it's time for John and I to kind of geek out. And be fangirl, fanguy around Janeva because we have had our own personal experiences with her enriching our lives. I can't understate the value that she has added to just so many different ways to my wellness. I guess if I had to boil it down to one word, wellness. Okay. It's so funny. The longer that I pursue a long-term healthy lifestyle, the more I kind of see this evolution in what I felt like I was not and who I have become. Like people or personas I didn't identify as. And one of those things was I am not a soup person, okay? I was a volume eater. I felt like soups are sad. And why would I want to drink a meal, okay? I'm just saying.
I get it.
So right there, that's a picture. We were heading from Dallas to Colorado to do some skiing a couple of spring breaks ago. I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago in March. And I thought, okay, how am I going to at least know that I've got vegetables while we're on the mountain? Okay. And I was like, I gotta do batch soup. I gotta do batch soup cooking. So what broke the skin on me even making this zucchini soup was cream of zucchini soup, right? Is that the right title in your cookbook?
Yes.
Okay, the cream of zucchini
is in actually in the files on the Facebook.
It is in the file section. Okay. I had a client who was struggling with her veggies, and she kept journaling the soup, and I was obviously giving it the side eye to myself when I was reviewing her journal. Right, and I'm like, oh, whatever, girl, you do you. Okay, if that's what's working, I'm so happy. And then she did it so long that I was like, there's something to this soup. And now I'm curious. And so I got up, I went out, I made the soup. I was like, I'll just make it once, right? Because that's another one of my philosophies. Try it once, right? I made the soup, and I haven't stopped making it since.
Interesting.
I literally have it in my freezer. I have it in my fridge. I have it at least once a week. It's super easy on my longer coaching days where I might be working kind of through my lunch. I can just drink the soup. It reheats well. It freezes well. And I'm a soup person now, Janeva.
I see you post that, like the pot of gold. Are you still making the pot of gold soup?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I just made the pot of gold last week. And I think because you created kind of a certain level of ambition within me for kitchen tolerance, for kitchen behavior tolerance, I went and I'm part of a homesteaders group here in North Texas. And one of the workshops that they offered recently was canning.
Oh.
And I learned that I could can using my Instant Pot. I can only use pint jars. And so first thing I did was I was going to make the pot of gold soup. And I was like, well, why not just try to can some of that? Like, I would be a happy girl to have canned soup in the pantry, right? And so the first thing I canned after going to my workshop was the pot of gold soup. Oh, and it worked out so well. I love the pot of gold soup, the roasted cauliflower red pepper soup. Yeah. I've tried the zuppa toscana now. So many of them. I'm a soup person. Okay, I will order soup now.
Yeah, I think it's a great way too to get your vegetables in. For sometimes vegetables, I think, have a texture issue for some people. Yes. Even myself, I find like, I love all vegetables, but I favor some, over others. So I'll eat almost any vegetable. It's just that I like, the ones I favor are the ones. It's more because of the texture and less about the flavor for me on those.
And that makes sense.
And so in the soups, it's perfect because, especially to have that for lunch, you can get your 2 cups in along with an ideal protein product. Super easy. The bread, the new bread, the new brown bread, or make some bagels, or there's all kinds of stuff you could eat alongside there. I think it's a perfect lunch idea. So I'm glad to hear that you're now a soup person.
I'm glad too. It also is really it's a great soup or a great vegetable option for clients that I've had that have had bariatric surgery.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
They've had some kind of weight loss surgery. The soup also makes it easy to get in the volume of vegetables that they need in the day without necessarily the digestive breakdown and things like that. So it's been really instrumental there too. And last week I didn't start tally marking, but in my appointments, I had so many people that are spot on track with what they want to do in phase 1, showing up for themselves. So many of them said, I made my soup, I've got my soup. And I'm just like, I should be tally marking this because it was in so many of my appointments last week.
Wow. So you're spreading good healthy tips along the way too.
I love it. So I'm a soup person. Thank you, Janeva. One more thing, one other way that I didn't identify with a persona that it hit me. Like I don't know. I guess I kind of identify. I'm still kind of migrating towards the I identify as. Food is not my love language. Like preparing food. Like I picture my Mima, in the kitchen making like 3 main dishes, 14 sides. Like she had 5 big old Texas boys plus her husband. And that's what I picture like love language around food, right? And I'm like, it's never going to be like my love language, right? And so then in January of this year, actually it was December because I had to go find the picture. It was December of last year, I had someone in our family was going through a hard time medically. And I thought, you know what, I want to support their caregiver, which was another family member. And so I made your tikka masala recipe. I meal prepped it. I did all the containers, and I thought, hold up, Wendy, stop it. What's going on here? Are you evolving again because of Geneva's recipes? Like, what's going on here? And I was like, there's no way. Like, I couldn't deny that was like a demonstration of a love language. And so I like took pictures, and I'm like, okay, here I grow again, right?
Here I grow again. I love it.
Right? It's another Wendyism. She's got a million of
them.
So maybe cooking is a love language for me. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's because of all your recipes. I literally, and I am hard-headed, and I was not going to give up on my lifestyle. Okay. So that combination is a recipe for success. How about that?
I love that because, you know, when you can share a passion and somebody else enjoys that passion, and you're kind of help to teach them, you know, to enjoy something like that.
Yeah.
That helping other people is just, there's just nothing better. And you both do it as well. And you know the rewards that it is. So I'm so glad that you're a very good student, Wendy. You are, and but you've taken something that, you know, was tedious, and you made it a love language. Hello, I mean, it's right there. Smart. I mean, that's just.
I would have never bet on that. I would never ever bet on that happening.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Love that story.
And then one more thing. That's my last one. Okay. Christmas this last year, we had a big family dinner, of course, and there was all age ranges around the table. I would say ranging from 21 to 83-ish. And I had said, you know what, let's go around the table and just share our favorite dish that our mom would make, right? Or that was growing up. What was our one favorite dish, you know, and share the experience around the dish. And so, I don't know, there were probably 14 people around the table. And it came to light that when my kids, who are 22 and almost 30, were growing up, Geneva, I did not know how to cook. And so they were hard pressed. like literally everybody else around the table had theirs. I had mine. My mom was there. And I'm like, you know what? I love the Spanish rice, you know? Mm-hmm. And what was really interesting is when it came around to my son's girlfriend, and they've been together about 5 years, she said, I would have never known that you didn't know how to cook when Bradley was growing up, because she loves coming here for dinner.
Interesting.
Wow.
She loves everything I make. And I was like, Pearl, I had not thought about that, but literally like her experience, and when she came into my life was post Geneva, and like maybe the Geneva, right? Like, and so her experience around my food as a love language was completely different than my kids. And I thought that is so special. And that is absolutely because I had access to, number one, your free resources first, which are in the files section of your Facebook page. There is, I don't know how many recipes are there. There are plenty of recipes in there to get started with a very tasty phase one experience in a way that is not intimidating in the kitchen. You're not going to have to spend half your life in the kitchen. I've timed myself making some of those recipes. Literally, if your protein is thawed out, you can make crack slaw from beginning to end in less than 17 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. There's quite a few recipes like that. Yeah.
So many of them. So many of them. So when Pearl shared that, I thought it made me a little sad for my kids, but then I was like, okay, too proud to be sad. Like my grandkids are going to have it going on. Thank you, Geneva. Those are just a couple of ways. Fundamentally, I've been changed forever by your gifts.
Well, like I said before, you're a great student. You like to learn, and when you mentioned how your son's girlfriend that loves coming over there, it's so rewarding when you create something in the kitchen and you nurture people. When you nurture people who you love, and that's what it is. And I think anybody who takes on the passion of cooking, it's all about nurturing other people. And so there's a lot to put in there. And just real quick, yesterday when my mom, I was telling you, she turned 93, and she said, I don't want any gifts. I don't need anything at 93. And I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend the week and I'm going to create all her favorite foods and things that she can put in their freezer and she can take out.
Yeah.
She's got all the for the next
that's
couple
great.
of weeks. So that's what I did. I brought over and I walked into her house and I said, this is a culinary birthday for you. And I felt so much better giving her I felt like I was giving her love and she was receiving it. Rather than here's a pair of gold earrings, I hope you like them.
Right.
Let's head out for dinner. I mean, and I think she felt it too, and she'd probably say the same thing if she were here. But it was one of the best birthdays with her, and I think there was just a lot of that. So that's your story reminded me of that because I think that you may feel that too when you nurture other people through your cooking.
Absolutely. Especially in a world where goods are so accessible, right? We see it, we buy it, whatever, right? Latest and greatest. I think that it just really highlights a greater commodity of time and care when we can have that demonstration of love. And I absolutely think that was the best thing you could have given your mom for yourself, for her. I'm going to keep cooking for other people too, because my time is my gift and I want to give that, my gifts and now whatever level of talent I have in the kitchen.
Well, I mean, you obviously nurture yourself, and that's another learning lesson too. Nurture, not just other people, nurture yourself. Learn to nurture yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
John?
I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time fanboying over her. Everybody knows I love her to death. And we're close to an hour at this stage, ladies, right? But everybody knows that I think that, again, she's the #1 ideal protein celebrity in Ideal Protein Nation. She has definitely been one of my favorite guests, and that's why I've had her on for 5 different episodes. One of my favorite things is every time to try to get her to laugh so that you can hear that Janeva laugh. And usually it revolves around her trying to get me to eat mushrooms, and she still has not succeeded. Right?
Not even the form of bacon.
Not even
shiitake mushroom bacon.
Yeah, I call shiitake on that. All right. But that said, let's get on so that the people who want to get that bacon kit might know the answer. Okay. Let's move on to Geneva's spirit vegetable.
Let's do it. So Geneva.
Drum roll, big reveal. Boom. What is that?
That would be rhubarb.
Rhubarb.
When I was asked what my spirit vegetable would be, it was really kind of tough for me because I like all vegetables. But what do I feel like a kinship or a soulful connection with?
Yeah.
And it's got to be rhubarb. And what's interesting to me about rhubarb is that it's a vegetable that eats like a fruit, right? I mean, we think it's more of a fruit because it's very sour. You have to add sweetener to it to eat it. So in Minnesota, of course, we just talked about we have such hard winters here, cold, and that's what rhubarb needs to thrive the next year. It needs a very hard frost. That's why you don't see it in the southern parts of the United States. And we can find it. We can find it like weeds growing literally on the side of people's houses everywhere. So it's very rare. We really have to pay for rhubarb around here. Somebody's neighbor has it. Somebody's friend has it. It's right outside.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's a big commodity up here, and we were raised with it. So when we were kids, most kids their parents had rhubarb growing right by the foundations of the house. We'd go and grab a stalk and wash it off with a garden hose, and then we'd run in and get a cup of sugar, and we'd dunk it in the sugar, and we'd eat it just like a celery stick. And that's how we grew up. And so, but we've got so many. My favorite pie is my mom's rhubarb cream pie. And I'm trying to get low carb that one, by the way.
Yeah, nice.
And but it's kind of in my soul. From the time I was a kid, where it needs a hard frost. I get a hard frost every winter. And then when spring comes, we're all like, yay. I mean, it's just, and that's what rhubarb does. It's a spring vegetable. I mean, about July or June, it sees the ends of its day and starts to get poisonous. We don't get poisonous here, but so it's got a short window there. But it's so anyways, that's kind of my connection. And it goes.
Did you say it gets poisonous?
It can, yes. So the leaves are never edible. You never want to eat the leaves.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if it gets too old in the season, that poison will go down into they won't offer it anymore at the grocery store, so you don't have to worry about it. Like if you're buying it at the grocery store, it's not going to be poisonous. But
I was thinking a little bit more as to your spiritual connection. No, I'm kidding. And I was also starting that.
Yeah, no.
I was also starting to wonder. At first, I was really excited that Lynn made me try the rhubarb compote recipe. But now I'm wondering if she was just trying to off the boss.
Just don't eat it after August. How's that?
I was going to say, and like a couple of the clients have been bringing it in, and now I'm beginning to wonder. So isn't there something, in all seriousness, though, so again, yes, you've got a little rhubarb community down here with Lynn and her Lynn's ladies. And they all have been doing the rhubarb recipes. But as far as growing it here, I think one of them told me it takes more than 1 year to actually get it cultivated enough so that it actually works.
That's true. Yes. I mean, that's anywhere. So I had a young plant that I planted last year. It grew about 6 feet wide. Honest to goodness, the leaves were, wow. It was like an umbrella. Now this year, it's not, I mean, it's growing, but it's not near. So it kind of needs 2 years to root any young plant. And then after that, it should be good.
Yeah. I was also fascinated by that. I was like, wow, that makes it even rougher around here.
It takes very little to garden it. I mean, you throw it in there and it does good. I mean, it does like fertilizer. It actually likes manure. Okay.
That did it. I'm out.
I know. So that's why you want to watch. But I mean, there's
those mushrooms.
A lot of fertilizers. So that's why people need to wash their vegetables. But other than that, I mean, you literally can just let it'll grow. Like you can't even. It'll just spread and grow. So that's the nice thing about it. You can have a lot of bounties after rhubarb after the second year. So.
I love that. And I've not made the strawberry rhubarb compote, but I was able to finally find some frozen rhubarb. And I guess after finding out it was your spirit vegetable, I'm like, okay, now I've got to have it. And I think it'd be really great on the multi-grain bread that we have in phase 1.
I agree. Yeah. Toast it and put it on there like a jam.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. So I've got my frozen rhubarb. I'm going to can some of it. Okay. Because I want to keep canning.
Yeah.
But I have not had it before because last time I kind of had my eye on rhubarb, or my mind where rhubarb was, it was out of season and I didn't even realize. And so I was able to track some down at Sprouts here in Dallas, Fort Worth in their freezer section.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, I believe that recipe is also in your file section.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that recipe is available out there.
It's good on pancakes and waffles. Layer it with the puddings. It's really good that way. I think I'm kind of sensitive to the tanginess of things, the tart, I should say tart.
Yeah.
It's very tart. And if you're sensitive to that, you're going to want to kind of manage that with like the pudding a little bit in that. So if you find it too tart, you can always put it, or it's really good with, I've got the strawberry rhubarb smoothie. That's in the book.
Yes.
You can throw it in with your smoothies, and that's another way to get your vegetables in.
Yeah, right.
And if you're missing fruit, it's just perfect for that. It has that real tangy fruit flavor to it. So anyways.
I love that. I'm going to give it a try. I think it's the perfect spirit vegetable.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Janeva, this has been wonderful. Wanted to see, what are you up to? What's going on in Janeva's kitchen? What do you want to share with us as we wind down the show?
Well, let's see what's going on. There's usually always something. I do have some things going on, but it's there's some a little bit down the road. But what I wanted to let people know is that the Phase 1 cookbook and the homestyle cookbook and the ebook, which is low carb, is still available. The Phase 1 cookbook is current with all it's all updated, it's all current, all the packets that Ideal Protein offers, they're also available for that. The low carb cookbook is kind of a nice way to shift from Phase 1 into your into a lifestyle where it's not, where you can do this, you can keep the weight out, you can still eat good food. It's a tool for learning, really.
It is,
and it can help you, go ease into maybe a lifestyle that you didn't realize that you could have and still maintain the weight look and things.
Absolutely.
So, and in the ebook, it's 5 ingredients or less, super easy. You can download it right away. I made that when 2020 hit and nobody wanted to go to the grocery store. I didn't either. They had us so frightened, and then so I thought, well, I'll just go out into my freezer and try and find things, whether it was frozen vegetables instead of fresh, and which I don't normally use, but they're fine. And I put together the 5 ingredient, make it easy, just with what I had in the freezer. And there's a lot of good recipes. Those would be after Phase 1, of course, for that one. But
all of the cookbooks are still very, very relevant. Even, if someone's beyond their Phase 1 journey or looking forward to stabilization and working with their coach and understanding their macro code, you can easily take any of those mealtime recipes from the Phase 1 cookbook and add your healthy fat choice, maybe add a carbohydrate component to it easily. You don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel in the kitchen or your experience just because we're moving out of Phase 1. When you're ready to expand your horizons, absolutely. I've got the 5 ingredients or less. I was like, you speak of my language, right? 5 ingredients or less, I can do that, right? Easy. Sometimes I pass on recipes because the list is so long.
Yeah. No, you could actually, some of the recipes where you see them where the ingredients are really long, it's just like, oh no, it's going to take, and that's not always the case. So remember that. It might look like there's a lot of ingredients, but when you do your prep, you realize that just prep ahead. Set it aside. So and that's that mise en place, it's called. You pre-prep everything. I've talked about that before, but I mean, 5 is easy, but it's easy. I love easy.
I just wanted to share with everybody too, and we talked about this ahead of time, that for me, one of the landmarks for how is Ideal Protein rebounded from our most recent troubles, and how are things going as far as products and what's going on in my clinic here. I shared with you that to me, when I felt excited about ordering another case of Janeva cookbooks to have here in our clinic, because we had the products to support it again. And I ordered that last month, and happy to say that it's flying off the shelves, and people are coming. A whole new generation of dieters, so to speak, are talking about Janeva recipes, and that's been a really great landmark or barometer to kind of see how Ideal Protein Nation has made a comeback. So, great. If you don't have that book, if you haven't heard about the book before, you've just come across this show, please, by all means, ask your clinic if they carry it. And if they don't, find Janeva's Kitchen online and order that cookbook, because it's a game changer on every level.
At genevaskitchen.com.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then your Phase 1 page, Janeva, what is that?
It's Geneva's Ideal Recipes, Ideal Protein Recipes on Facebook, and I do some on Instagram too. But what I've said before, I like working with Facebook because I'm online more often, and I can so if you have questions, I'm usually right there to answer questions most of the time.
Yeah,
and it's more live and interactive. Yeah. But I've got, but I'm on Instagram and all the other ones too. So
it's a great resource. She's got really great experts too to help her out.
Yeah.
Like you too.
She does good. I saw one of my clients posted on your Facebook group asking around cooking and zucchini and all of that. And
yes.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you too, like that's a highlight, certainly in my experience as well. When I'm flipping through and a post from one of my clients here in the office, and they're posting up on, and I'm just like, oh, you go, girl. That's so awesome.
Right? Yes. And I would say that engage, ask questions. I'm happy to be part of the, part of it, and other people learn too from their posts.
Right.
And it's not, I've never looked at it as my page. It's our page. It's the community page. It's not, this isn't about me. I'm helping to share and, the experience and help with tools that I can, but I want the community to use it as a tool for them.
And what an incredible community too, because like Wendy said in the beginning of the show, you've got over 60,000 followers on that, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I wanted to tell you, I'm this close to catching you though. All I need is 59,000 more.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it. I know.
You go, John.
It's almost there.
Well, it takes time. That's since 2015, so it does. But it's a great group. It's a great group of people. I am so proud of the people on that page, and they're just it's the nicest group of people. There's no funny business on there. Everybody's very respectful, and there's a lot of
If not, Geneva cracks down.
No, I do approve posts for that reason, but I think it runs a very kind ship, and everybody's welcome as long as they just follow super simple rules of being kind to everybody, and we can all but I've never, in how many years it's been out there, it's just been 9 years, I guess it's been out there. It's just been wonderful. So
it's a fabulous resource. Geneva, thank you so much for all that you do, all that you give, all of your musical talents in the kitchen.
Right.
We have, go to her page, go check out genevaskitchen.com. Watch, listen, follow the Life Possible podcast to get the word on the street from Dr. Barnes with latest and greatest conversations around wellness. Follow the Real Women of Ideal Protein on Facebook or Instagram. Like and follow Ideal Protein. And remember, anyone who messages the Real Women of Ideal Protein on Facebook or Instagram with Geneva's Spirit Vegetable will be put into a drawing for a free baking kit. We will do that drawing next Wednesday. Okay. Until then, stay hydrated.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Geneva. Thank you, John.
See you. Great to be with you, ladies.